All right, dental friends. So we're here for another alcohol review. Um, Fact, all the best things in life start with the letter M. Marriage, matriarchal societies, Mcocaine, hair dye, Michigan Dental School, uh, mylar strips for your anterior composites. All right, is not the best example, but is also great is mimosas, right? Everyone loves mimosas. They passed the first rule of my alcohol review, or my first question of my alcohol reviews. Is it juice? Because it, by definition, is. So we're doing this star cider mimosa. It's not champagne in there. It's cider, but like I don't know the difference. My tongue doesn't know the difference. So I think they're great. What's also cool about them is that they're very low alcohol percentage, so it is a good study beer. Maybe I should like put it kind of in a shot so you can see it. No. Um, yeah, it's tasty as fuck. Who doesn't love mimosas? Who out there is like, no, no, don't give me the mimosas. The only time I can now really imagine that happening is someone who has like an acid reflux disorder. But even then, we could just like give them some Tums beforehand. Like, life's too short. Alcohol's not good for you anyway. So, like, drink up, buttercup. There's sober kids in Africa. Um, anyway, and so, okay, I'll be honest. This review is mostly just because I want to tell a story and I didn't want to type it all up. So here it is. I was at work, right? And there's this dentist who's, I think, technically younger than me, who's just a really odd duck. I don't I like her a lot. I would never let her work on me. Um, and I think sometimes the things I don't like about her are just some of the same things I don't like about myself. And so I'm like unnecessarily harsh on her at times. But anyway, she's just like real. She has told me about her boob job multiple times. I know about her vibrators at home. I know about the year she spent in Europe doing drugs. She is just a fascinating firecracker pistol of a woman, and I respect the hell out of that. And anyway, one morning before patients were there, before uh, anyone else really was there. It was just me, my good Judy. She had gotten there a bit early. And I was talking to my good Judy about how sometimes I don't recognize people when I meet them because for about like almost a decade of my life, I was just like drunk a lot, just like really fucked up a lot. And so there's people I've met, and alcohol is just like a push-up bra for the personality, right? So I'm like funny, I'm hilarious, I'm outgoing, and so they remember me, but I don't remember them. And so sometimes I have a scenario where someone's like recognizes me and I don't recognize them. Um, and she overheard me saying that like I've been drunk a lot in the past and I don't always recognize people. And so later she pulled me aside and was like, Mary, you probably shouldn't say that. Like, what if someone heard you? And I was like, oh, like, is like was someone around to hear me? Thinking like HR or someone who'd care. And she was like, "Oh, no, no, just me." And then she referenced the sterilization tech who's gotten fired earlier because she used a racial slur just out in front of patients and other workers and whatnot. And at first I was like, okay, because I didn't quite see where she was going with this. Like I acknowledged I've been drunk in the past, and she's like the N word. Um, and then she was like, "Well, it's just a small town. Like, you gotta be careful with what you say." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then she did tell me that she's been talked to before about things that she says, and I could believe that based off all the shit she's told me. And then she was like, "Are you mad at me?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Are you embarrassed?" And I'm like, "Nah." Um, like, honestly, if HR pulled me aside and was like, "Mary, you mentioned being drunk." While talking to someone else away from patients, like we're upset about this. I wish they fucking would. Mostly because I'd probably like lie, make it like a pivot, and be like, yeah, just like go on like a sobriety rant or something, and be like, if you don't let people acknowledge this stuff, like What about our patients who have problems with alcohol disorders? Like, do you want them to be silent too? Can they not say things in the operatory lest someone else hears? But probably not, because I mean, there's a difference between like a patient talking about their medical history and me acknowledging I was cool when I was younger. Um, but yeah, I guess I do got a lot of like repressed rage, and I'm just like, I wish a motherfucker would, like come at me, HR. I wanna pick a fight. Um, but I mean, I know not to say these things when people who matter can hear. Like, I'm intrinsically a very trashy person who's trying to move up into nicer echelons of society. I know I can't reveal my true self around them. It's why my coworkers can't like get access to my social media and they use fake names online. I can't have these people knowing who I actually am. I'm so unemployable otherwise. Um, but yeah, otherwise I'm just like, I'm good at my job. Let me do what I want and gossip with my good Judies. But of course I was like, no, no, you're fine. In fact, you're probably right. And then just like stopped and let her do whatever. I mentioned she acknowledged that she's been talked to before. Maybe it was just her like projecting her own weird feelings about it onto me. I don't know. One of us isn't a dentist and held to a higher standard than the other. Um, so maybe that was it. But yeah, it was super awkward because she was like, Mary, you know that sterilization tech who used the N word? Like, no, where are you going with this? But it's just the N word's the one thing that finally got her fired. It was all of her multiple health violations, I think, that really sealed the deal. Um, all those unsterilized instruments we kept having to intercept. Um, she was also the one who was like, I think, like just running trains in hotel rooms and doing questionable stuff. She stopped by my one coworker who also was a stripper, and showed up at her work unexpectedly and was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this hotel room and meet a bunch of dudes?" And she was like, "Nah." Sterilization tech. I wonder what she's up to now. Anyway, so this is a pretty decent cider. Consider getting it. You can just pour it in cups and pretend it's just a mimosa.